friendship. Before we go into this ayah though, I want to set the stage so that we can kind of understand this and pick this apart together. When we look at friendship, or when I look at friendship, or when I looked at it in the past, for me, friendship or good companion was not somebody that offered me good advice, was not somebody that offered me those words of wisdom which would right the wrongs that I was doing. But in reality, my reality was such that I ensured that I surrounded myself with those people who did not provide me with that wisdom. Well, and even if somebody did, then I would make it a point to let that pass through without absorbing any goodness from it. And this was what I found to be a very, very challenging way to live life. And what I learned is that what advice that I could learn from my friends, what advice that I could learn from the good companionship around me, I was deprived of that. So how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teaches in another manner, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used life to teach me. Now life is not as forgiving as a teacher as friends are, or good company is. Life doesn't look at our emotions, nor does it use any sort of specific wisdom that we can understand. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses this as a tool to remind us and teach us continuously. And what it taught me was a few things. And inshaAllah I'll share them with you. What it taught me was that good company, even though I had heard all the old adages, the words of wisdom, the various quotes that people have passed on, it didn't register with me up until I learned through real life example. And what it taught me was that good company is somewhat of a buffer. Good company allows us, the good company offers us wisdom, offers us righteous advice to help rear us in such a manner which is in accordance to the teaching of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, or of course, and which is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala desires from us. And furthermore, it allows for us to keep the distance between life teaching us and its harsh realities of how it teaches us too as well. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helped me understand this through this. What it also I understood from this was that even though I wanted to perpetuate this life of lies and this life that I found to be satiating in the worldly desires, what it reminded me was this absence that I felt within inside. This absence that I felt within inside of myself, that I was craving for some sort of righteousness, that I was craving for that goodness, but I didn't know how to interpret it, and I didn't know how to take it. And only after I learned these lessons through life, the various adages, like the Arabic adage that says, al-ishawatu yakfi lil-aqid, that ishara, that advice or a simple inclination is sufficient for that person that is of wisdom. That person that has knowledge can understand by just reviewing what is going in his surroundings, by auditing all that is going around him. And based on that, a wise person can understand what is righteousness and what will take him away from that righteousness. What will propel him through goodness and which will provide him that fodder for a down spiral into negativity. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala offers this. And He uses people and those that are around us in a way to remind us of that. What it also taught me was the value of good company. Was the value of those people that were around me, that taught me with wisdom, that taught me with care, and cared about my salvation in this life and in the hereafter. I downplayed that for a number of years because I wanted to promote such a surrounding or such an understanding that didn't allow for goodness to come in. And only through realization, only through life and life's experiences and maturity was I able to understand that this is a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Righteous company that offers us wisdom in that fashion is something to be cherished, something to be held on to, something to be grasped. And that company that detracts us from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's worship will only continue to perpetuate that lifestyle. Will only try to do just that to keep us away from that which Allah's messenger is calling us to. From that which will return us to greatness and salvation in this life and in the hereafter too. And only through these challenges was I able to understand this. And even when what my fear also was with this, that is losing that company that I grew up with, that company that I could be, myself with. My fear was that if I left these people, I wouldn't have a surrounding or a close circle which would maybe help me in the time of need, or if anything, take my mind off things which were challenges to me. These are things that I feared if I disconnected with these people that weren't righteous. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teaches us in many different ways that which is righteous will not provide us any good. It doesn't matter how we bend it, which reflection that we look at it at. But goodness and good company is such that it will perpetuate that within our life. As the Farsi poet says, "Suhbat salih turah salih kunad, wa suhbat talih turah salih kunad." That righteous company, being in the company of righteousness, will make us righteous people, and that will perpetuate that same lifestyle. And being in the company of those that are of unsavory character, that will have that same impression upon us too as well. And if we fear losing that bad company, let us be assured that we can see from afar and never really come close to. But it requires effort. Just the way I make effort for my friends in this real life, good or bad, in the same way, an effort is required to establish that relationship too. And just the way I look for solace, for support, and from encouragement from the friends that I cultivate in this life, all of that can come from a great source, the source of everything, the one that is the beginning, the one that is the end, the one that has power over all. Imagine that type of friendship. What fear would we have? What challenges would we have? What would our interpretations of experiences be? All of that changes. And this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us in Surah to Yunus and in various places too. Allah, they have no fear. وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ, and they have no sorrow. What does this mean? What does this even mean to me? No fear, no sorrow? For a person that is full of fear and has only but sorrow? What does that even mean for a person? That I fear constantly my life, my family's life, the fear of food, the fear of putting shelter over my family, the fear of my job, the fear of everything that I could think of. I have an immense amount of fear. So what does this mean that la khawfun alayhim? And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala goes further by saying that وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ. And remember this, when you have fear, you have anxiety. When you have fear, you have sorrow. These are combination things. These go hand in hand. So you have sorrow of what? The things that you lost out. The potential source of wealth that you thought you could have had and I didn't get. There's sorrow for that. There's a relationship that I wanted to have but I didn't get that. There's sorrow for that. In our life, where there's a way with this. Fear and sorrow. From oscillating between one and the other. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us that there is a way out of this. There's a way out of this for those that only wish to remove themselves from this. And again, it only, as I mentioned earlier, it only comes to those whose horizons have reached such a point. If the light of your horizon has not reached a specific point, then there is no way you'll understand it. You could repeat it and bend it and mirror it in different ways, but that will not speak to us. Only when our horizons are lifted to a certain point and our light shines upon a specific knowledge, then we begin to understand. Then we begin to value the things that Allah and His Messenger tell us to value. Then we begin to value those things that were taught to us by our pious predecessors, that taught to us by our pious religious teachers. Those things take value. Those things are stuff that we start to put stock into. And everything else that is transitory, this dunya that spins round and round, that is here today, gone tomorrow, starts to lose value. And this is when that connection, your connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is increasing. This is the indicator. This is that barometer that teaches us and shows us that where we are with our connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm not saying that one should avoid chasing dunya, but I'm saying is that the drive and the desire wouldn't be wouldn't be something that detracts us from the love of Allah. And as Mufassireen have said, what is la khawfun alayhim wa la hum yahzanun? Some say that is that their fears of this earth and the sorrows for the hereafter will be something that will be completely lifted from them. Completely lifted from them. Imagine such a life. Imagine such a life where you did not care about where your money would come from, where your sustenance would come from. And let me remind you, there are creatures like that. If you wake up early in the morning, you'll see birds leave their nest, empty stomachs, not knowing where they will get their sustenance, but they leave their house. And as we all know, they come back with a full stomach. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts reminders for us everywhere. That yes, these are tangible needs that we have for survival in this life. But these are not the purpose of life. These tangible needs are not the purpose of life. The purpose of life is something far greater. So imagine how life would be if we had no fear, if we had no sorrow, if we weren't afraid of what specific outcomes will be in our life. Just imagine what life would be like that. And let me remind you, there are those that live life like that, even in this time. There are those that live life exactly like how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is describing as His friends do, where they have no fear, no sorrow. And they live their life like that. So let's be assured that it is a station and a designation that we all can achieve. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, furthermore, through the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, also gives us more examples of what these friends are like. Who are these friends? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teaches us through a hadith al-Qudsi, the hadith that I mentioned, a portion of it. I said, it's Allah's Messenger reminds us that whoever makes an enemy of Allah's friend, remember, this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminding us through the Messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whoever makes an enemy of Allah's friend, فَقَدْ آذَنْتُهُ بِالْحَرْبِ. Let them know that Allah has declared war upon them. Look at the strong words Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is using here. Look at the friendship. If we thought our friends had our back, our friends in this dunya had our back, look how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling you that I have your back. That if you are my friend, if you have that connection with me, then if anybody declares war upon you, or if anybody becomes your enemy, by virtue of them being your enemy, I've declared war upon them. Not even that they're enemy, they're my enemy, but Allah goes a step further by saying, I have declared war upon them. This is the station that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is calling. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is exemplifying. And Allah's Messenger, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, is calling us to this. He's calling us to this. And this world around us that we see consistently reminds us of it. So in closing, I wanted to use an example from my own life so that it felt a little more real. And inshallah, that's what I hope to do, is share from my life, not so that I can say that I'm holier than thou, but it allows for us to really understand from a perspective that is more, that exists right in front of us. It allows for us to see that the goodness that exists in other people, or that learning that somebody else has, we can take from that too as well. We don't have to have the experience or life teach us in that specific way, but we can buffer ourselves from that learning by learning from other people, using examples that are around us to learn from them too. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala remind us of the beauty that exists within us, the beauty that exists around us, and the goodness that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed in our life. Let us take from that. And let us, if we feel from cutting off our friends that may be unsavory character, remember that there is such a relationship that we can inculcate, we can harvest, we can create, that will be far greater than any physical relationship that we can have. And that is the relationship and the friendship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For those of us that desire, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the opportunity to cultivate it. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the desire to become closer to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But by following him, then we can realize how we can be. بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد بعدد من صلى وصام اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد بعدد من قعد وقام اللهم صل على جميع الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى سائر الصحابة والتابعين وعلى عبادك الصالحين اللهم أيد الإسلام والمسلمين اللهم أيد الإسلام والمسلمين اللهم انصر من نصر دين محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم واجعلنا منهم اللهم اخذل من خذل دين محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم ولا تجعلنا منهم اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه اللهم ثبتنا على الإسلام اللهم نور قلوبنا بنور الإيمان اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات عباد الله رحمكم الله إن الله يأمركم بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون أقيم الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر